Something is happening at Hallium Creative. And for the first time, I'm not scared of it. Last week, I told you guys that I am rebuilding my brand, I'm rebranding, but I didn't tell you that behind the scenes, I've been working really hard on something. This week, I'm going to talk about what it takes to build an offer, what it looks like, and what's going on here at Hallium Creative. So, welcome back to Beyond the Forge, the rebrand edition. This now series, it seems like, is talking about my rebrand, what I'm working on while I'm rebuilding my brand and building my own brand equity, and also trying to, of course, make money in this business. And the rebrand forced a couple questions like, who is Helium Creative really for now? And what does that person actually need? I do think last week I addressed the difference between business needs versus wants. And now I'm talking about client needs versus the things that I actually want to work on, and how do those two things kind of intersect. And so when I was asking myself those kind of questions, a few things came up, and I realized three things. There's an idea that I've been sitting on that could really, really help entrepreneurs get consistent. Two, I've been ignoring that gap because of the fear that it's already been done, and quite frankly, fear that it would be successful and I wouldn't know what to do with that success. That's a real feeling, and if somebody else out there feels like that, let me know in the comments if you've ever felt like sometimes you're afraid of success. You want to make money, you want to go viral, but you really have no idea what you would do with that level of money and virality that you're thinking of. I know you have a number in your head when I talk about that. I know you have a moment in your head when I talk about that. And I think that by asking yourself those things, you could really get, you know, clear on what it is that is making you afraid of those things. And also go to therapy, guys. That's just that's some tea for you. But I've also, like I said, I've been ignoring the gap because of the fear that I have. And there's a real difference. Again, I'm realizing these things as I'm asking myself, what does the brand really needs? There's a difference between maintaining a brand and actively building one. And I realized that for a long time, probably the last year, I've been in build mode. And now that I'm here, the creativity is just pouring out of me. I couldn't be more grateful for it. I am so tired. I have been in the forge more than ever. Um, and if anybody is new here, or if you never heard me reference the forge is my workspace. It's where I get things done. It's this desk and these monitors and my laptop and my iPad. It's everything that encompasses kind of where I get work done. So I've been in the Forge a lot lately, and not just working with clients. I've actually been discovering work that I like to do versus what I was doing because of what my industry says that I should do. In an effort to make myself stand out, I've been looking elsewhere and not necessarily in the branding and the design industry. I've been looking at fashion, I've been looking at music, I've been looking at the food industry, and just looking to see what kind of marketing and what kind of exciting new things are happening across all boards. And also, I've been working on personal projects that just like quite frankly they bring me joy, like illustration and social graphics, which I never thought I would say that, but I just been having a lot of fun creating. However, there is through this work, I've been realizing that rebuilding my brand will teach you a lot about yourself, and not just about yourself, but it'll teach you one, like I said last week, patience. It will teach you things about your brand that client work never will. For example, it really forces you to look at what's missing from your brand. Like I said, when I was asking myself what I wanted from the brand, I had to think like, okay, so I know what I want now, but who am I really going to assist and what do they need? And so I know I'm like talking in circles around this, but I definitely want to emphasize that what I wanted for the brand may not be what my audience needs, and I needed to find a common ground there. And then I really had to look internally, and I suggest you guys do this too, to see what you want and need personally from the business. How much money do you need to make to be comfortable? What do you want your day-to-day life to look like? I know I talk about the uncloned brand vault program that I was in, and I really wish I could recommend it to you guys, but it's not going to exist anymore after this year in the capacity that it exists now. Um, However, these type of things were asked of me in the program, and I was meant to sit down and figure them out. And because of that, I was able to then look externally to kind of see what types of founders are out there that could really benefit from what I was thinking of. I didn't want to create something just because I felt like it would make me the most money. I wanted something that was educational. I wanted something that was useful, and I wanted something that I could really, assist other entrepreneurs who are kind of having some of the same thoughts that I was having about consistency, about brand trust. I really thought about what would I have wanted when I was, or what would I want if I was well established, I already had a strategy, and I just didn't have the time or the energy to, handle showing up online or handle working on a million different design assets on my own as a CEO. And so what I saw when I looked was that there are plenty of people who could use this. But for this particular idea, I had one type of founder in mind. They're super talented, but they've been in business for a minute and they know their stuff, but the business isn't quite moving how they would want it to. I noticed that, a lot of these creators, they have uh I noticed like three major things with these founders. And that was one, they needed consistent strategic support. So they needed somebody that was a steady hand, somebody that was a constant in their business, and somebody that was in their corner month to month. They have the strategy, they have their energy, but they don't necessarily have the time to do the things they need to do to show up the way they need to show up to market their business. So they have the time and the energy, they have the energy, they have the strategy, they have the visuals, they don't have the time. And so they may have a brand, but I also noticed that if they do have a brand, they're not necessarily using it in the correct way. So they're not using it properly because they don't have guidelines or brand education. And so, what I mean by brand education is they know how a brand works and they're able to articulate their ideas to their clients and they're able to serve their clients. But when it comes to their branding and their brand strategy, they don't have like a brand guidelines. They don't have somebody to tell them kind of the jargon or explain what this or that means. So, for example, if you think about a brand guidelines, if somebody tells you like this is your typography and your fonts, and then they just hand them to you, they didn't hand you your headers or your typography system. And what I mean by that is how the headings, your subtitles, your body copy, so the text, the main text of your website or your social graphics or something like that. If you're not sure how to organize that information on your own, it could look a little crazy. So they're not using it properly because they don't have brand guidelines, they don't have brand education, and they only have the assets. So they have the logos, the color palette, and everything they do post. It seems kind of piecemeal, like there's no true strategy or direction behind it. And this is causing friction for them and for their audience because it's confusing. You don't know what to do, you don't know what to post. And, and even if you do know what to post, it's a little messy. It's not consistent across the board. You don't have like a set template that you like to use. You don't really have photos. You don't really have you don't have a copy dictionary, you don't have a brand dictionary, so you're not using the same language over and over again. And so these are some of the things that I noticed. And so it's deteriorating their brand trust and their authority because not only are they not showing up consistently, but they're also showing up slightly different every single time. So humans, they are creatures of habit. And so by showing up the same way every single time, over and over and over again, that is how you build brand trust. That is how you build authority. So think of somebody like McDonald's. If we see those golden arches, we're going to immediately know that's McDonald's. If you think of somebody like, excuse this reference, y'all, I do not support them, but Target, you see that big red Target symbol, you know that that's Target. Or if you're like driving past the store and you see those big red balls outside the store, you know that it's a Target store. Who else? But you get the point. By not showing up consistently, these things cause friction for your audience, and I noticed that that was happening with a lot of the founders that I was researching. And there's really no system for them. So they might have a strategy, but they don't have, like I said, they don't have a consistent system for them to use time and time again. And so what I realized is that I've already been doing this for my clients informally. I may not have like a name for it or packaged it in a way or a true container for it. They'll ask me for flyers, they'll ask me for a one off illustration, but I started to ask myself, what would it look like if I could show up consistently for my clients in a way that they wouldn't have to think so much? What would it look like if I was not just at the beginning of their journey, but and not just for the big build of the brand, but what if I was there continuously? And so that question became a build. It became exactly what I needed to fuel myself to create for the next part of this phase of the brand. I saw a founder who really and truly needed a solution, but I didn't really have a name for it, so I built it. And building something new inside of a new business is a kind of risky, in my opinion. Like, yes, you have the opportunity to kind of start from scratch, but as somebody who already had experience but has had so many brand containers. So I used to be Black Mermaid Art and Design. I used to be Hallie Inc. I used to be Hallie Montgomery Designs. But now Hallie and Creative itself does not have any brand equity. So that was kind of scary while I was building this. I wasn't necessarily starting from scratch because I still have the skills. Like I said, I went to design school. I worked with clients in Pittsburgh, DC, Kansas City. I've worked with plenty of real clients. I've even worked with large corporations like American Eagle or Humor Designs. And it just my personal brand, Hallie M Creative, doesn't have any equity. And so convincing myself that I could actually help something with something in the midst of building my own brand, even if I do have the experience, it was a mental struggle. I believe in myself, but I also have the tenacity and the courage to admit that I don't have it all figured out myself. This scared me down to the socks. I'm not gonna lie. It actually terrified the hell out of me, okay? I want y'all to know that I was asking myself a million questions about this. Was it too small? Was I thinking too small? How was this idea too big? Is it too much? Is it for the right audience? Am I thinking about the right people when I'm building this offer? However, I sat with it until it stopped feeling like a gamble and it started just feeling like a natural extension of what I was already creating. I already have a product suite that I believe in. What will be the next viable step for somebody that was walking through my product suite? If they wanted to come in as a fresh client and they already had branding, okay, how could I assist them beyond rehashing everything that they already had? And so I kept working and shaping the offer until it came together naturally. And I truly felt my forge metaphor come to life in this moment. Um, I carry that forge momentum so much through the brand that it's hit harder because I literally felt like I was shaping the metal of this offer until it was workable, until it made sense. I didn't rush the process. I really treated this like I was forging the ultimate weapon to help my clients. And I will tell you, this went through multiple iterations before I got it to where it is now. The process of building something new isn't easy. It's still a mind, you know what, FUCK. And so it messes with you. Even after you've already developed offers, even after you've already sold an offer, it's like, okay, is this gonna hit the way that it needs to? Ultimately, I have been working on this idea last year and I never did anything with it because I was terrified of success. Like I said at the beginning of this video, how would I handle it if it actually worked? What would it feel like to sink or swim in this moment? And would I get burnt playing with fire like this? However, on the flip side, the rebrand actually shifted that for me. I was super excited to feel this way about something I was creating. Like feeling so pumped up that I just have to get it out right away. But I took my time and I shifted the mindset behind it because what if it works? What if I learned to handle the heat? What if I solved my problems, my financial issues, my what if what if I succeed? I just I really got clear on what my personal brand needed, and once I got there, the fear started to melt away. So it's not like I didn't know that this offer was going to work, but I knew that what I was building could probably change my life. And so the offer is heat when it solves a problem for a real person and you're excited to deliver it to the general public. This one definitely passed the test because I ran it through a test with a client. I offered this to them and I didn't tell them this was a beta product. I just charged the beta rate. And I have been working with this client since December and the offer has been a smashing success. So I'm super, super excited to, you know, let this out into the world. And the bottom line is, an offer hits when you have to do it anyway. When the fear of failure begins to outweigh the fear of success, that's when you hit the sweet spot. You did it through the fear and now you're ready to ramp up to the next phase. And so I think it's really important to explain that before I say like I'm ready now. And honestly, a year ago, I wasn't ready. I could be honest with you guys and say that I was still in survival mode. Some days I still feel like I'm treading water, but learning to be confident in my work and myself again has done wonders for me, not only in my professional life, but in my personal life. I'm able to stand up for my ideas and the things that I'm working on and that I believe in much more fiercely because I know for a fact that I'm the HBIC over here. I am the queen of my life. I am the person that's in charge of my brand and I could do whatever I want with it, quite frankly. And so I know that getting clear on what I wanted Helium to Helium Creative to become and what it actually stood for uh helped me do that 180 and walk down the direction that I was supposed to be walking on. The rebrand, the unclone brand vault work, the clarity that I found over the last couple months has been building toward this version of myself that can work on something new without dropping what's already in motion and feeling like I'm overwhelmed, feeling like I'm sinking, and feeling like what what the heck am I doing with my time when I could be applying for jobs, or when I could be out here canvassing for some money, some other stable and more normal way, but this is what I'm supposed to be doing. And I don't feel like fear is holding me back anymore. It means it's really up to me at this point. And I can't keep letting the fear of what is possible outweigh the here and right now. And I will say, I can't keep planning anymore because ready doesn't mean perfect. I told y'all I'm doing all of this while I'm rebranding myself. You know how insane that is to try and take all of this on at the same time, but now more than ever, I feel empowered to take this on. It means that I've done enough of the work on the inside where the fear is now manageable and the vision is clearer than ever. I've spent a really long time building for other people, and I'm just so excited to take the reins back in my life and start putting some respect on myself and the brand, and really giving myself the chance to succeed with strategy, with a product, with the things that I personally need for this brand to be a hit. And that brings me to the point, like, something is coming on Tuesday for you guys, and I've been building this quietly for months. I can't wait to share with you guys on Tuesday. It's going to be on my Instagram at Hallium Creative, and it's for a very specific kind of founder. And if you were watching this and it spoke to you in any way, and you're tired of letting the fear of your success outweigh the fear of failure, then this product is definitely going to be for you. And so all the details are going to go live on Tuesday, April 29th. And I won't tell you what it is yet, but I want to share with you so that you know that something is coming to solve your problem. Something is coming to save you, and it's me. And I can't wait for you guys to see it. So, if this is video two, episode two of Beyond the Forge, the rebrand edit. And if the rebrand story, the behind the scenes, the honesty has really resonated with you, subscribe to my channel, comment below what your favorite part of this video was, and subscribe and turn on those bell notifications so you know when the next video is coming out. Thank you guys, and I'll see you next week. And don't forget to go find wonder.